If Tom Curran knows what he is talking about, then the joy that we have had, as delivered by Bill Belichick, is over. And come the end of the season, you will find out who is going to be in charge of what you can, I think, only call a rebuild. I mean, it's really you were talking earlier during your lead about Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
If you're drafting a quarterback with the second pick, as long as you hang in that spot,
Yep.
and with the lack of talent that is currently on this roster, is Mike Vrabel the guy to direct a rebuild? I mean, who is the guy? That's my concern.
Well, how's Bill's rebuild looked?
I mean, his rebuild after losing the greatest player to ever play at the position in the game.
After showing the door, yep.
I would expect that it's going to take a while.
Well, he said a reset in 2020. He said that the Bucks and the Rams went all in, that the Patriots had to reset after going for titles. Now, 2 years later, they're far worse.
I guess it depends on how much Kraft gets involved. Because if we look at Brady leaving, and from that point on, you kind of, 2020 is a throwaway year because of COVID, and you kind of really don't know what you want to do. So if you look at and say, was Mac Jones a Kraft edict to get the quarterback? Mm-hmm. And now when you look at this new coach, is Kraft going to say, here's what we need to do? And now you're going to have to pick the new quarterback, or is Kraft involved in that? Then you got money to spend, so you can easily get the players that you want. I don't think that's the issue. The question is the new coach with the players that Bill or this new coach is going to have.
Well, you can't easily get the players you want because for years players came here because of its proximity to a title.
No, but it's all about spending money.
But if all things are equal, if two teams have the same offer, he's going to go. The player will likely go to a team that's closer to a title. So it's not easy.
No, but I'm talking about if you want a guy like T. Higgins, you pay him money, and he's going to go to the highest bidder.
But Curtis is saying if there's two teams that have the same bid, then he's probably going to go somewhere other than the Patriots.
But those usually end up for guys that are older, that are looking like a DeAndre Hopkins, right? But we're talking about.
Boy, does he look good. Wouldn't he look good here?
Yeah, he would be.
Whose decision was that to not bring him in?
That I think it's that if we're all believing it, if I believe it's Roberts and not wanting to spend money.
So Roberts said give $2 million to Devontae Parker instead of releasing Devontae Parker and allocating that resource to DeAndre Hopkins.
Whose decision was it to bring Mac back as quarterback?
Okay, you're answering a different question. Of course, that was Belichick's decision.
I said Robert.
Why? Why would Robert want to give Devontae Parker money?
Because Robert didn't want to spend that money.
It's the same money.
But he didn't want to spend that money. It's not the same money.
Yes, it would have been if you released
$16 million.
If you released Devontae Parker,
yep,
and you don't give him a $2 million raise, and you give DeAndre Hopkins the 2-year deal, it's the same money.
What's the Devontae Parker's money?
You saved $6 million, and you gave
what's
him
his
$2
money
million.
for this year? $16 million?
No. What $6 million is what you saved in cutting Devontae Parker. Then you remove the $2 million that you gave him on top of that. That's $8 million.
$8 million. But you still needed to give DeAndre Hopkins another $5 million.
This is
over 2 years.
This is Nate. Hello, Nate.
Hey, good morning.
What's up?
Not so much. Hey, Wiggy, come on, man. Knock it off. They went and spent for Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne, and Juju Smith, all this money that Bill picked. He picked these guys. Kraft gave up the reins to him a long time ago. All this stuff that's went on with all these picks. When was the last time he hit on a first-round pick? Okay, so the reason why they stuck with Mac Jones this season for so long is look back with Isaiah Wynn. Look back with N'Keal Harry. How long do those guys stick around? It's because he didn't want to look bad for making a bad draft pick with the first round. He hasn't hit to 2012 with Hightower and Chandler Jones. So, Wiggy, I know you played for the man.
Nate, that's where you and I disagree, Nate. I don't believe that Mac Jones was a Bill Belichick pick.
Yeah.
That's where you and I disagree.
But you and I agree on Jacoby Myers. You've said for years that Bill doesn't value the undrafted
and
guy.
I agree with you on Nelson Aguilar. I believe that was a Bill Belichick thing. I believe on Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith and some of these other guys. But when it comes to the most important position on the football field, the quarterback, and we go back to the draft, I believe that was Robert Kraft pressuring Bill to Mac Jones.
Let me get to this 508 text. Text this show anytime on the Subaru of New England text line. Find your authorized Subaru retailer at SubaruofNewEngland.com. You guys are out of your mind if you think Bill Belichick is going anywhere. Now, listen, this is Tommy Curran.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's not. He's stating it as he was told. I'm guessing that he trusts his sources. That he was told the decision has been made and was made after what happened in Germany. So, I mean, that's a report. It's not speculation.
Right.
That's a report that he made yesterday.
Right. But that's on Robert, because there was a good person in the text, Top Gun something, and he made this point. Do you believe, he said, Robert didn't allow Bill this offseason to get a new quarterback. He got in the way. And we all believe that. I believe it. And I believe that Robert was the driving factor in drafting Mac Jones. And the reason why this team is where it is, in my opinion, is because of the quarterback. If you changed your quarterback this offseason, if you were to get an Aaron Rodgers, or you were to get a Lamar Jackson, or you were to get somebody who was just above average, we are not sitting here having this conversation. Your quarterback is 90% of the reason why your team is 3-10, not your coach.
Yep.
This is Joe from Tampa, Florida. Hey,
and just
Joe.
quickly before we get to Joe, so then you would say Brady is 90% of the reason they won those 6 Super Bowls.
I'd say he's 90% of the reason why they won the second part.
Thank you. Good. Same team.
Yeah, the three of them.
I love common ground.
Hello, Joe.
If Kraft was able to make the choice between Bledsoe and Brady way back when, after Bledsoe just won the conference championship game, and Kraft had just wrote him a check for $100 million, or Brady, the kid sitting down the end of the bench, Kraft would have taken Bledsoe, and Brady would have got traded to Buffalo, and they'd have won all the Super Bowls.
Maybe.
Yeah, I agree with that. But that was, remember, early in Kraft's his career, where he already had the issues with Parcells about picking players, so he goes, I'm going to stay out of this. But now he's going back. He's 180 in it and going back to he wants more input now at the end of his ownership, where he's saying we need to get the next guy to replace Brady.
Joe, would Tampa welcome Bill Belichick with open arms?
Tampa is ready for Belichick. The weather is beautiful down here in the winter, Bill. You can bring your boat down here. Tampa is waiting with open arms. I'm sure a lot of cities are waiting for Belichick.
If
Also,
he needs
doesn't
it, I
this
can
have to
recommend
be-
some breakfast spots, too.
Doesn't this have to also be a Jonathan Kraft decision?
Yeah.
If Jonathan's going to take over, how much longer does Robert really have as the owner? So
I don't know.
It's probably less of Kraft's decision. This is probably falling more on Jonathan. Who does he
I
want
don't know.
to be the head?
I still think Robert is still the driving force, where Jonathan is, until Robert steps away, it's still his final say.
You see a lot more of Jonathan getting into action this season than we've seen in the
right,
past.
but you hear from Robert, not a lot, but when he's on CNN or he goes on game day, where it's I love Mac. It's Mac this was before the season. And I believed that Bill wanted to move on from Mac at the beginning of the season.
I mean, listen, don't kid yourself. There's no love lost there between the Krafts and Bill Belichick. I mean, it's always been a working relationship.
Just for our purposes,
it hasn't
Greg.
been a pleasant. I mean, it's not pleasant. But it hasn't been pleasant probably since the early days.
But for our purposes, don't you want the divorce? Because it's going to get ugly.
Oh, yeah, it's going to get
It
extremely
will be
ugly.
unbelievable. It'll make the Brady Bill
popcorn
divorce look like nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially
All right.
with Tommy Curran said Bill's an asset. So then that means you're trading him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Bill's
you are.
just not going to let you trade him
Well,
anyway.
no, I think, Wiggy, you have to, you keep, I understand it because you love Bill Belichick.
Uh-huh.
But if you're going to have the discussion, it's done. They've worked it out.
No, I know, I agree
it's
with
not
that.
ugly.
But
Bill's
do you let Bill
don't
just
you-
walk?
If Bill was not on board with this,
Uh-huh.
they hadn't found some way to meet in the middle.
Right.
Don't you think Bill would be harumphing his way through every time the question is asked, being miserable and directing things at the Crafts? They figured
But do
a
you
way.
let him walk? If you're the owner of the team, Greg, are you letting him
They
walk?
figured it out somehow. They appear to have, if you believe Tom Curran, it's done, it's finished, they figured it out. So how that happens and how it unfolds, Curtis is right. Maybe Bill goes somewhere else, and then you start to hear, who didn't like whom and what they did to each other. I'm sure you're right.
I agree with
That's
it, but
all going to start coming out.
But I agree with Curtis. This thing is going to be ugly because you don't just let Bill Belichick walk.
No, they probably are. They're probably getting something from him, and Bill's on board with saying, "Hey, here's where I want to go," and you figure out what your Bill doesn't want. By the way, the team that Bill is going to, he's not going to want them giving up much for him when it comes to.
But
draft
he ain't
collateral.
going to Washington. He just ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, you never know about
What
that.
should we bring Bill for Christmas on Monday?
Well, Courtney, I think already has a gift. I have a gift too.
I have a gift.
What?
I am worried about.
I think I have a good gift.
Okay, you definitely didn't pay for it.
I did pay for mine. I am worried that if it's ugly on Sunday with the Chiefs, I don't know if I can give it to him on Monday.
Really?
Yeah.
Just give
It's
it
a
to Bears.
Swifty
I
gift.
I think you have to. It's probably going to be the last time you see him in person.
I got a
Right.
great. You give him a great gift. Give him one of those mats you put in front of your house, because if we all believe he's going someplace else, like get him a welcome mat.
Or a jump to conclusion, Matt.
Hey, listen, and I just this comes up in the Twitch chat. It's come up on the Subaru of New England text line this morning. Tom E. Curran could be incorrect,
Yes.
but
That ain't a good look.
he's out there. I mean, is that not that report yesterday? Is that not putting yourself out there and saying it? He's telling you sources that he trusts, and
Right.
Curtis says he's got the sources.
I mean,
There's no house in Connecticut.
there wasn't, unfortunately.
He is. You can't walk back from that. Correct.
Correct. And here's the other thing, that Fourier did a great job with Gresh when they interviewed him. I highly recommend it. Go to the Odyssey app, listen to the full. It was like a 20-minute spot. It was excellent. And Fourier's perspective, or what he's hearing, a guy that played like Wiggy, he's connected to the team, does the post-game show on Channel 4, that he's not hearing that at all. He said to Tom, he said, I'm hearing totally opposite of what you are. So that Fourier, we believe, is connected, right? So there's two people that are connected that have differing points of view about the future of Bill Belichick.
This is Orlowski lane. This is like Orlowski lane, where Orlowski's like, oh, Bill already has a place. Tommy Curran is basically saying,
You can't go if that's your job. You can't go out there and say the decision's been made.
right.
I was told it was made after Germany, and then walk it back.
No, I don't think he walks it back. I think he does what Orlowski does. He kind of buries his head in the sand, lets it blow over, and then he comes back up, and we're on to the next thing.
I think it's pretty simple, though, Greg. Let's say the Patriots win 2 more games.
Yes.
But, Greg, let's say they win 2 more games, and they look better, and Zappe actually looks efficient in the offense, and the team's vibing, and as Courtney's alluded to, more players come out publicly and support the coach. Tom Curran could say that, well, it was never, I guess, officially done. The players played for them, and Robert Kraft decided it was worth another year.
Yeah, but he already said it's officially done, so he can't go back and say it was never officially
Right.
done.
I mean, but we have moved past the house in Connecticut safely here. The morning show's never been more highly rated.
He'll
So,
look the other way.
Curtis, I hate to break it to you. I do not portend to be a journalist.
Portend, I love that word.
I am a hack.
This was framed by, I think, Greg, to a degree of, certainly with this verbiage.
Yeah.
That is oozing with condescension.
Yes. Because he comes across like Tommy Curran comes across as like somebody, when he speaks of his sources, like he's well connected. He uses big words. He's not like a clickbait type of dude.
No.
And he's not like, oh, it's just somebody who throws bombs out there just to get people's reaction.
Yeah.
So this is like, when I heard that, that's why I didn't even send it in the group message, because I didn't want to get made fun of getting an erection.
And it's for folks who want to do it for the entertainment portion, which is fine for Greg Hill in the morning. That's fine.
That clearly wasn't fine
It's
if you listen to
fine.
that tone.
If I want to do it for entertainment purposes, it's
Greg
fine.
Hill in the morning.
Yeah.